Hi everyone, it's Saul Sunforge here for Dungeons and Taverns. I wanted to give my thoughts on the OGL. The other day I made a content update for the channel in regards to January and some of my future plans. At the time of that update, I didn't really know too much about the OGL, and before that, even less. I spent all night last night at work listening to YouTube videos of other third party creators and their takes on the OGL. And so I want to go ahead and, now that I understand the situation a bit more, present to you the situation as it stands. Back in 2000, Wizards of the Coast created something called the OGL. It's a game license that allows other third party creators to develop products for sale using their world, while they still maintain their copyright, and the third party creator has their own copyright. In my estimation, third party publishings is what kept D&D afloat for so many years. And then Critical Role made D&D explode in popularity, and shows like the Stranger Things. But the game license has stood for about 23 years. We'll say 20 plus years, 22, 23 years. And really, it was free promotion for D&D. And so it was like a mutual relationship. Well, what happened was Wizards of the Coast bought out by Hasbro. Hasbro wanting to make more money, seeing D&D as a cash cow, is doing quite a lot of things to try to increase the monetization of D&D. D&D as a product most of the time has been purchased by the dungeon masters, while Hasbro is wanting more money from players. So in conjunction with this new edition of D&D that's coming out, which right now is called 1D&D, I don't know if they're going to change the name or not, but right now it's called 1D&D. Along with that, they're releasing a new OGL. The new OGL is not friendly to, or the leaked proposed OGL is not friendly to third-party creators. Now, it gives some income guidelines, and some of them you would think are rather generous, especially to somebody like me who's brand new at this and is, a long ways right now away from these goals. But this is bad not just for future me, but it's bad for a lot of current people who are already exceeding these guidelines. So as of right now in the leak, if you make 750,000, then they get a royalties. And the royalty percentage is like 25%. And there's a special deal if you go through Kickstarter, it's only 20%. But the lower tier of $50,000, which is much more realistic, yet still completely far away from me, the income has to be reported to Wizards. And I'm not even going to really say Wizards anymore. I'm just going to say Hasbro, since they are the parent. They are the ones who are enacting this. I'm fairly certain. After all, they have an ex-Microsoft exec in there, and so microtransactions would come with the territory. And if the guideline was only that if you make over 50K that you have to report it, I would be fine with that. But the thing is, with the royalties, it's not if you make 750,000 in profit. It's just if you have 750,000 from it. So that's before your expenses and before taxes and all those types of things. And so you can actually, as a larger publisher, go completely negative. Or if you are, crowdfunding from Kickstarter, for instance, you can actually make far underneath your goal and come out broke, financially destitute from this. And so really, it's a way to force out third party. In addition to all this, the part that concerns me currently is that when you make products free or for pay, Hasbro, at their will, can nullify your contract. They get a master copy of what it is you're producing, and even if you're offering it for free, they can come and take it from you, claim it as their own, and not give you recognition for it or any money. And this would affect D&D podcasts as well as D&D YouTube plays, such as the Dirty 20, which is featured here on the channel for right now. So this all, in my opinion, spells very bad news for third-party anything, even small creators like myself. If you have anything to do with D&D, you're obligated with this OGL. And I'm sorry, I'm not about to work on things for hundreds or even thousands of hours for you in order for some other big company to come in and say it's theirs, swoop in, grab it, and charge you whatever they want for it as their own product, not giving me any recognition or credit along the way. If you are a D&D player only, then it's not going to affect you as bad, only especially if you don't use third-party sources. But if you do like to use third-party sources to inspire yourself or to add extra feats or flavor, magic items or equipment into the game, if you enjoy those things as a player and you purchase those things, they're going to start going away. And so it affects you in that way. And furthermore, since this goes into effect, I think on the 13th of January, I cannot show you any more D&D. I cannot show you any more of my campaign for right now. Because what would the point be in getting 1 or 2 more episodes? Or even if I theoretically could upload every single episode unedited that I have of the campaign so far, there's still about a year of time before the campaign is finished. At least 10 months. And then I would have to come and take it all back down. Because once the OGL goes into effect, they can claim all of my previous D&D content and then pull me into the license that way. You know, the whole ignorance is no excuse thing. But the thing is 9,000 words long. The last one was 900 words long. And they're not giving creators enough time to even read what's in it. That's a common tactic the government uses to pass bills by without several notices. You know, if you make the legal jargon long enough, people are going to tune out. That's how a lot of end user license agreements that people just click, they agree to, are not be able to contest it in court. Because these companies understand and know that after a while, you're just going to tune out. Even if you intend to read the whole document, it is for every product. And they know that. And they know they could get away with things that they could just imply that they have copyright for, because they know that individuals are not going to be able to fight them. They'll be able to drag them out in court so long in litigation that an individual will go literally penniless. And these companies would not really care and would completely do it to every single person if they had to. But the thing is that they don't have to do this. Wizards of the Coast, and by extension Hasbro, thinks that D&D is too big to fail at this point. This is all, of course, in my opinion. But the thing is, D&D, 5th edition D&D specifically, is third party. Third party creators are what fix the inconsistencies in your rule set. But the thing is that D&D is definitely not too big to fail. It almost failed in 4th edition. It took several critical hits to their bottom line, that's for sure. The fallout from this, if these leaks are true, is going to be far more catastrophic for them than that. Furthermore, they're going to go and create themselves several competitors, and whether they have the name or exposure of D&D or not, it does not matter. They're going to have competitors, and they're going to only serve to draw from the people that D&D has, and collectively they could do enough damage to Hasbro that D&D will just be, you know, I'm not going to say it'll be done, because it is huge, but it's not too big to fail. You know, in terms of companies like that, the investors want more. So companies give more. And what's going to happen once Hasbro is giving less, year over year, steadily, increasingly, the investors aren't going to be too happy. And then Hasbro may end up looking to sell. That's how catastrophic I feel that this change is. It's going to have monumental effects through the entire TTRPG community. as several other systems are using the OGL, the previous OGL, the one that was thought irrevocable. In terms of if you didn't agree with any future changes, you could just ignore them. The one thing that the leaks did mention that is that they could be wrong and they're willing to walk it back after they see the reaction. But in my opinion, the fact that they were willing to go that far in the first place does not get a pass with me if they walk it back. They're only doing that to save themselves. They do not care about third party. They do not care. They want the money. They want a good cut of that money, and they're willing to bankrupt people to get it. I was thinking about moving my campaign to Pathfinder to try to avoid it, but Pathfinder also is under the OGL. In fact, quite a few systems are under the OGL. And so now if they're going to enforce this, I think there could be some antitrust lawsuits going on. And in fact, I've seen some paperwork of some lawsuits that are, pre-litigation in case this does go through already. So of course they're going to try to walk that back. And Hasbro has been known to leak changes and then walk them back, which they never actually were going to go with the leaked changes. They're walking it back to their and changes all along. So, you could be like, well, at least they didn't go to that route, which they were never going up here. They were just going to take it to here the entire time. And then people were like, yeah, okay, that's a W then. But it's really not, because that's their intention all along. Hasbro is known for that tactic. So walking this back does not mean that they didn't have this intended in the first place. If that's where they want to go with things, then people are going to be out of here. So walking it back, in my opinion, does not solve my problems, and most people, what I feel, will be their issues with it. And I believe the damage has already been done. And I'm not going to make any changes to the channel until everything's official. I do not consider myself somebody who is an overreactionary. And whenever I have questions for anything, I like to see the evidence in its totality before I make a decision. And for some of the products that I was going to be having here in the future, this is now a wait and see. I know that I'm still going to record the D&D sessions that we have, but the videos will be private, and they'll remain private, but I'm going to record them just in case they walk this stuff back. So you'll be able to see the rest of this campaign, and no matter what, if they do walk it back, I am still, for the second and future campaigns, going to a different system. And what's more, I'm so determined to do this, I'm willing to make a system. I'm willing to make a balanced system. Not just me, with a team of people. I've already talked to people, and we're willing to beta test this system out in a campaign in the future for you all to see, in case you want to adopt the system as well. And I'm totally willing to do all of that. But for right now, we are in a wait and see mode. What this also means for the channel is that I cannot play any further in Neverwinter Nights, because that has Wizards of the Coast property. That was, I believe, 3rd edition D&D. And that means no Icewind Dales, no Baldur's Gates, no Pathfinder Kingmaker. The other option that I have considered is their other policy in the OGL for fans, for non-commercial, because having the videos here for you for free, I don't see how that could be anything against the fan policy. If I had a Patreon set up for you to donate to the channel, it would be a way for you to watch all those videos for free and still support my work. So doing that for the campaign and for the D&D content, but having the world and things like that for, it'll be for, season 2 and going forward beyond that, having that in a different system. And so I wouldn't be beholden with my world in the OGL, and so then they wouldn't be able to take over my world and my assets and my maps and everything that I made. Also, personally, I don't mind giving Wizards of the Coast some money. I think it's only fair to, in exchange for exchange for using their product, they should get a little bit of kickback for it. It's only fair, especially if you're profiting from it. I think if you're making nothing from it, then you should be able to do whatever you want, besides saying that the game itself is yours. But you should be able to make any kind of content that you want for it if it's free. But if you do make money from it, I think that Hasbro should get something for it. But do I think 25% is fair at all? No. I think 25% is much too high. That's more than most companies' profit margin from these items. Because whether you like it or not, TTRPGs are still a niche community. Yes, they have gotten more successful over time for sure. There's certainly more of them, and there's certainly more players, and there's certainly more in pop culture. But it's still, the profit margins on this stuff is usually so razor thin that paying an additional 25% out of nowhere, out of your pocket, out of what that little slice that you get, it's not feasible. Especially because it's not 25% of the profit, it's 25% overall, whether you're profitable or not. And they can change the amount whenever they want. And you can spend thousands of your own dollars working on a project in order for them, just before you finish your project, to say, you can't make any more products. What are you going to do then? And I know nobody from Hasbro is going to watch my channel, my little tiny channel here on my little tiny corner of YouTube. But I would suggest that they swiftly repair the damage that they've already done with this leak. They will never be able to repair all of the damage unless the leak comes out as it's completely untrue. That is the only way that they can come out of this. Even if it's a lie, they would have to come and say it's completely untrue, and then start back over at square one and heavily reduce a lot of the restrictions. So I would strongly suggest, if I was in their shoes, that's what I would do, is completely walk that nonsense back all the way and start over. And then they would have to show some type of goodwill and faith token to third-party creators to ensure that they would never, ever try to get away with that again. I think only that assurance would ensure that 85-90% of the creators would stay. There's going to be some that are hard line in the sand. Nope, not staying for nothing, and they're going to leave. And you need to respect that. But if you walked it back swiftly, I would have to think that you would keep 60-75% of your creators happy, and the rest would probably stay for now. But other than that, I think I would have to speak for all third-party creators in terms of creating under the OGL, or for Wizards or D&D, by extension Hasbro, creating these things for them. I would have to say, for third-party creators, to Hasbro, fuck you. It's a big fuck you. Go to hell. I'm certain that us third-party creators would come to the table mutually and create a mutually beneficial arrangement where you get something for sure from our works, because our works are derivative. They're based off of your works. But it's those derivative works that keep your guys in business. It's what keeps the money flowing for your company. It's what feeds your families. And so if you're determined to take away the way that all these third-party creators feed their families, then I think they're going to have to take away the means to feed yours. This is Saul Sunforge for Dungeons and Taverns, and I'm probably going to end up having to change the name of my channel. Have a great day.